Imagine this. You're sitting at a red light. Maybe you're on your way to work. Maybe you're picking up your kids. The light is red, you're waiting. Then a man walks up to your window. He pulls out a gun. He points it at your face. And he says one word, "Get out." Your heart stops. Your hands start shaking. Your kids are in the back seat. In that split second, you have to decide. Do you open the door? Do you give him your car? Or do you step on the gas and hope for the best? This exact scenario happened recently. A driver in South Africa was carjacked at gunpoint. The video went viral. The driver didn't freeze. He didn't give up. He hit the gas and ran over the carjacker. And now everyone's asking the same question. Was that legal? Could he do that? Could you do that? In this video, I'm breaking down what the law says about using your car to defend yourself against a carjacker. We'll cover when you can use force, when you can't, and what steps you should take to protect yourself without crossing the legal line. Stick with me, and you'll walk away knowing exactly what to do if you ever find yourself in this terrifying situation. Before I break it down, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. You do not want to be searching for this video while someone is pointing a gun at your window. Let's start with a quick look at the video. A driver is stopped at a red light. A man walks up to the driver's side window and points a gun directly at the driver. The driver doesn't hesitate. He hits the gas, runs over the carjacker, and escapes. The carjacker was armed. The driver was protecting himself, and in my opinion, and in the opinion of most legal experts, he was completely justified. But let's not jump to conclusions. Let's look at the law. I'm going to use Washington state law as a baseline because it's a good middle-of-the-road example. Not too strict, not too lenient, but remember, laws vary by state. What's legal in Texas might not be legal in California. Always check your local laws. Always consult a local attorney. This is general education, not legal advice. Here's the first thing you need to know. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to defend your property. And you have the right to defend other people who are in your presence. But there are limits. The law doesn't give you a blank check. You can only use the force that is necessary, reasonable, and proportional. Let me break that down. Necessary means you actually need to use force. You can't use force if you can safely escape. Reasonable means a reasonable person in your situation would have done the same thing. And proportional means you can't use more force than the situation requires. If someone pushes you, you can't shoot them. If someone threatens you, you can't run them over. But what about lethal force? Lethal force is force that could cause death or serious bodily injury. And lethal force can only be used in specific situations. You can use lethal force if you are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. You can use it if someone else in your presence is in that same kind of danger. You can use it if a serious violent felony is being committed upon your person. And you can use it if a felony is being committed inside your home. Now let's apply this to the carjacking scenario. Is a carjacking a serious violent felony? Yes. Carjacking is a form of robbery. And robbery is the taking of property through force or threat of force. If someone points a gun at you and demands your car, they're committing a felony. Not just any felony, a violent felony. And they're putting you in imminent danger of death or serious bodily injury. So under the law, the driver in the video had every right to use lethal force. The carjacker was armed. He was threatening the driver. The driver was in imminent danger. And the driver used his car as a weapon to escape. That's a textbook example of justified lethal force. But let me be clear. You can't use your car as a weapon just because someone is stealing your property. If someone is breaking into your car while you're not in it, you can't run them over. That's defending property, not defending yourself. The law does not allow lethal force to protect property alone. It only allows lethal force when you're in danger of serious injury or death. Now, some people might argue that the driver in the video could have just given up his car. He could have gotten out and let the carjacker drive away. And in some states, you might have a duty to retreat. But in Washington state, you don't have a duty to retreat if you're in a place where you have a right to be. And your car is a place where you have a right to be. So the driver didn't have to flee. He could stand his ground. He could defend himself. Let me give you an example of how this plays out in real life. In one case, a man in Texas was sitting in his car when a carjacker approached with a gun. The man drew his own firearm and shot the carjacker. He was never charged. Why? Because he was in imminent danger. The carjacker was armed. The threat was real. The use of force was justified. In another case, a man in California chased down a carjacker who had stolen his car. He rammed the carjacker's vehicle with his own car. But here's the difference. The carjacker was fleeing. The threat was over. The man was no longer in danger, so using his car as a weapon was no longer justified. He was charged with assault. The difference between these two cases is the timing of the force. In the first case, the force was used while the threat was happening. In the second case, the force was used after the threat had passed. That's why the first man walked free and the second man faced charges. So here's what you need to remember. If you're being carjacked and you're in immediate danger, you have the right to defend yourself. You can use lethal force, you can use your car as a weapon, but the moment the threat is over, your right to use force is over too. You can't chase them. You can't retaliate. You can't take revenge. The law only allows you to defend yourself, not to punish someone after the fact. Now, let's talk about passengers. What if you have your kids in the car? What if you have other family members with you? That's even more justification for using lethal force. If the carjacker is threatening your passengers, you're defending other people as well. And the law allows you to use lethal force to protect others who are in immediate danger. Your kids are in immediate danger. Your spouse is in immediate danger. Your right to defend them is just as strong as your right to defend yourself. Let me break this down with a simple summary. If a carjacker points a gun at you, you are facing a violent felony, you are in imminent danger, you can use lethal force. You can use your car as a weapon. You don't have to wait until you're shot. You don't have to give up your car and hope for the best. You have the right to defend yourself, but you also have to be reasonable. You can't use excessive force. If the carjacker is running away, you can't chase him. If he's unarmed, you can't use lethal force. If he's just yelling at you, you can't run him over. The force must match the threat. That's the law. So let's go back to the video. The carjacker was armed. He was pointing a gun at the driver. He was demanding the car. The driver was in immediate danger. The driver used his car to escape. He used lethal force, and he was justified. But I want to address one more thing. What if you're not sure? What if you're not sure if the carjacker has a real gun? What if you're not sure if he's going to shoot you? The law doesn't require you to be certain. It requires you to be reasonable. If a reasonable person in your situation would believe that the threat is real, then you can use lethal force. You don't have to wait until you see the bullet. You don't have to wait until you're shot. You can act when a reasonable person would be afraid for their life. Now, let me give you some practical advice. If you ever find yourself in a carjacking situation, here's what you should do. First, assess the situation quickly. Do they have a weapon? Are they threatening you? Are your passengers safe? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, you are in danger. Second, if you have the chance, lock your doors and put your car in drive. Don't wait to be attacked. Don't try to reason with them. If someone is pointing a gun at you, they are not there to negotiate. They are there to take your car. Your job is to survive. Third, if you can escape without using force, do that. If you can drive away safely, drive away. Your car is replaceable and you are not. Fourth, if you cannot escape and you're in immediate danger, you have the right to defend yourself. Use whatever force is necessary. Use your car. Use your horn. Use anything you can to get away. Your life is more important than their safety. Fifth, after you're safe, call 911. Give them your location. Tell them what happened. Tell them you were carjacked and you feared for your life. Don't say anything else. Don't talk to the media. Don't post on social media. Call your lawyer. Sixth, document everything. Save your dashcam footage. Write down everything you remember. Get the names of any witnesses. All of this will help your lawyer build your defense. Seventh, understand that every situation is different. What works in one case might not work in another. The key is to be prepared. Think about what you would do. Practice in your head. So when it happens, you don't have to think. You just act. Practice these steps at home. Say them out loud. When you're sitting at a red light and someone walks up to your window, you don't want to think. You want your hands and your feet to know what to do automatically. And remember, none of this is legal advice for your specific situation. Laws vary by state. If you're ever charged with a crime, consult a local attorney who knows the judges and prosecutors in your area. If this video helped you understand what to do if you're carjacked, hit that like button right now. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an update. And drop a comment below. Do you think the driver in the video was justified? Would you have done the same thing? I read every comment, and I will see you in the next video.